the conversation anyways. Welcome back to the Brand Doctors Show. So, as I was telling you before the call, Doc, it's been an eventful weekend. Last week, I woke up, or I was up till like 4 a.m. or something like that. Woke up at 4 a.m., couldn't go back to sleep. So I decided to revamp all the tabs on my website and the playlists on my YouTube channel and get them to match. Made thumbnails for them, changed the description, simplified things. It was really great. I've revamped the membership website on my first site. Need to do that for the second website, figure that out. Moved some courses, dismantled Pinsite. We talk about tools on here. I used to use Pinsite. I don't anymore. I don't recommend it either because, yeah. What about you? How's your week going, sir?
Let's see. It's going good. Not as eventful as yours, but let's see. What have I been doing? I have been leaning into the 12-week year. I have been swimming as usual.
Ooh, okay.
And what else have I been doing? I think the main thing, I'm trying to just follow the plan still. And so there were some insights. We can talk about it. I've been invited, or they put my profile on a couple sponsorship sites or marketplaces to get to align. Basically, they match you with the company. They're giving you the price range, all of these things, really low offers compared to what I would like. But also too, I created an AI agent based off of Justin Moore's book, Sponsorship Magnet. So we can talk about that too. So we can talk about it, but my wife usually does a lot of the sponsorships and pitching, but a lot of times it's just very difficult because she's not very interested. So it's, how can I make it as easy as possible to give her the content so she can do it, because she's a graphic designer. She can do all these things. She just does not like the world of business with branding and everything. So was reading the book, created some systems, and just working towards my goal. Yeah.
I think this is definitely a good point to make too. You and I talk about trying to go exponential or try to speed up the process. I actually made a video I wanted you to check out. I'm not sure if you got a chance to before our call, but it was about how to make 100 posts a day. And this is that concept that has been obsessed about for ages. And that whole reason why I made that, and even bring it up to you about a month ago about like doing 100 YouTube posts in one day or something like that, just kind of being out there, eccentric, is trying to think outside the box, because you and I both just want to grow as fast as possible. So we're willing to do things that other people may not be willing to. But there is a point of just staying the course, making sure you don't make any big decisions. Like just last night, and even this morning, I'm looking at the PolyTools website, and lately I've been kind of dismantling my auxiliary places. I took down the gaming website, took down the Pinsite, and just merged it all into my main website. And I was even thinking about, like, what if I could find a way to make the PolyTools a subdomain of PolyInnovator and just remove the newsletter back over to PolyInnovator, and then just keep the tools part separate and have two ghost instances, but one's a sub of the other. But again, that's such a big project, and it might not even be wise, because you want to have a separate domain too, and you also don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. So it's weird.
Yeah.
We like to think of the stuff like that. That's what I'm saying.
No, I think it's very true. I think it's, looking at it this weekend and seeing what people are doing, I have really been focused on keeping everything very simple and reacting only where there is either emotionally I feel very strongly I should do something, or if the numbers dictate it, I'll do it. I think I was in a stage of, I had to get off of Twitter, by the way, for a minute.
Did you?
Because it's just too much reaction. It was too much. It's too much noise there. And so I was getting too antsy with what I should or shouldn't do. So for mental health, I had to do that. I forgot to tell you,
good.
I had my first, it's been a long time since I've had a troll in my chat with live streaming. It was very, very odd. Very odd. But I also learned, I'm like, yep, there will be new constraints on the live streaming at this time, because I said you could come on the show and invite him up. I told him, like, you can't swear, because AdSense automatically starts dropping the F-bomb. And then I'm like, we can't have this. But also too, just very condescending, and just like, it's one of those things of, it reminded me a lot of two things. There was, when no code first came out, there's a lot of coders that were basically like, this isn't real. You can't really build anything on top of it. And basically this was the sentiment of the guy's analogy, or sentiment of what he was trying to get at with AI agents and IDs. So like using cursor and basically coding with AI agents.
Mhm.
But the more I say this, I don't want to give any more breath to that kind of thing. So yeah.
Something that comes to mind, if you want to try to save that live stream, maybe delete it and just edit it and cut out the portions that have the cursing and then re-upload it as a video, but then maybe just add it to the live stream playlist or something like that.
Yeah.
And that way you could still get, 3/4 of that video monetized and help people still.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. It was just like, man, I and then also during that session I was like, yep, I have figured out what I like and what I don't like about the format of live streams, like what works for me. And I was going with a person that they're like, I'm not sure if you've heard the term, but a lot of people just call it vibe coding,
Mm.
with basically you're using AI agents to just go with the flow, ask it questions, and it's iterating and it's building and you're solving errors with the application. But I realized that for an audience, that's really confusing. If it's just like this, no, like, what's the purpose of this? It's 3 hours. Can they watch it on replay? Versus usually I've been doing live streams like 1 hour, hour 15 with a clear mission. This is
Mhm.
what we're going to talk about. This is what we're going to accomplish, but this is what we're going to try to get to. Let's go and do that. And so even for my own style, I'm like, if I'm going to do more vibe coding or invite people on that, I'm going to use it on my secondary channel, and I'll still live stream, but it won't be on the main channel because I think there's a limited return on that
Mm.
style. It's very tough. I don't go back and do timestamps a lot. It's really just what am I doing in the moment? But yeah, a lot of things figured out this week, and it was good.
And live streams are good. I just wonder if there's a way for you to still find a way to repurpose those videos, not even into shorts, but just into 15-minute videos, 30-minute videos. So take it to 3 hours and turn it into like a streamlined 30-minute. So like all the fluff gets cut out, but you still get to have that process.
And I think I am for some, especially if people are asking very specific questions, I can use that to repurpose. And then there was a doctor on the show that was basically like, I need to hire a programmer. And the guest built it out in about 15 minutes, what she wanted. So I'm definitely going to probably repurpose and use that and create a whole video around it.
There was someone I was talking to on Twitter. He's one of the Notion people, knowledge management kind of things. I interviewed him on my show, and I got a chance to interview him. I'm going to send you in the chat his tweet, but he's basically rebuilding his website using Cursor, and he doesn't know how to code, so he's kind of documenting his process. So maybe you could talk to him about that stuff too.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. I'm getting looking at that in the chat.
And it's just one of those things where I still kind of wish I had time to mess with Cursor and TikTok IDE and Surf. It's just one of those things where, because there's also the Surf browser that came out recently. I been very behind on the PolyTools brand. I've been really hauling, but on the YouTube, but on the actual websites, I've barely made any progress on the newsletters. It's one of those things where I have been adding to it over time. I went in and I made a draft for, okay, here's 10 posts or here's 10 tools from this category. Cool. So I went in, added a tag to each one. I added the outline. Here's 10 tools, 3 tools, 5 tools. And then I added recently, a day or two ago, the actual link to that category at the bottom so I could have a call to action for each one. And so I have about 30 to 50 posts ready kind of to go to write. And once I write them, I can schedule them out. So just like the other newsletters, get them a whole year ahead and just not have to worry about it. But it's also been a month and a half and I haven't done it yet. So
yeah, no, I think it, and again, depends on what you want to do. Things change, priorities change. And yeah, no, I think, again, we were talking about goals and where we want to go. I think it just depends. I think it really just depends. What's the topic for today? Where do you want to go with this thing?
You said something last time, but I don't remember quite what it was. I should have rewatched the video so we could have seen it. Slacking, But I think we were talking a little bit about I don't think we talked too much about analytics last time, but I'm not sure how we wanted to go about analytics. Maybe we should save that for next time after this. I'm not 100% sure because I think really there was a lot to catch up on, and I am kind of curious about that idea I mentioned earlier, the eccentricity of what can we do to grow faster. So you and I were talking in December, and I was like, hey, you want to get to 100,000 in a year, 18 months, something like that. And I was asking you, what would it look like if you wanted to do it in 4 months? What were the differences that you needed to do that? And I think that really it wouldn't be a whole lot more content per se that you're producing. It'd just be a lot more repurposing, a lot more like syndicating, and maybe refolding old content into the fold, that kind of thing. But we can keep talking about that too. And it doesn't have to be just video. We could talk written and audio too.
Yeah, I mean, the main thing is, so there's two things. I was thinking about this because one of my friends, so there's a couple of YouTubers and a couple, like, I guess there's brands and personal brands that all came out of this area.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I think we've talked about it. I want to do a whole video documentary of like how many past Vine stars, how many music acts have come within like 70 miles, like the radius of this certain town that I live in or
Hmm.
around. But the reality is we have music acts that have a couple million on Instagram and blown up on SoundCloud, but that was huge. My other friend, he has over like 165K on his subscribers on YouTube. But the thing I keep coming back to, yes, I want to hit 100,000. I was looking at what Roberta Blake was talking about. I am more concerned with having flexibility with the brand being able to have access certain amount of capital or revenue to then be able to produce or then create the content I want or to go X, Y, and Z. So that keeping that in mind, there's a couple of things that I'm looking at. Number one is if I'm going, so let's talk about what's happened since November, December. The positives, my channel has grown. So it was averaging around 600, 700 subscribers. It's been staying that for like years, increasing the
Per
amount
week?
per month. So it's not anything huge. Right now, we're looking at, so it's saying publishing has helped you 59% more views for the last 2 months, right? So I was averaging around 57K views a month. I'm at about 79K right now. Um, Subscribers. Oh, my watch time is up by 1,000, and my subscribers are. I was ranging 450 to 700 a month. I'm close to 1,000 subscribers a month now. Gaining, so it's
Mm-hmm.
going well. It's increasing based off of what I'm doing, but now we're looking at this next step into either packaging or subjects and those kind of things. So, and I have been doing shorts. We can talk about a whole thing about my thoughts on shorts. They are doing better than I expected. But we can talk about that too.
That's kind of what I thought was going to happen. I wanted to replicate what happened to me with your channel and see what happens with the shorts, because really you and I both have this kind of mentality. As long as the content is good, the format's not too big of a deal. And so, like, you have posted, live streams and then just chop it up and make that into a video. And you've worked a little bit more in the last like 6 months or so, make it a little bit more fancy, add some more animation, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But for a long time, you basically just took your video and chopped it up that way, or recorded it StreamYard that way. And so when I say the quality wasn't like as high, it's one of those things where like the actual bit rate wouldn't have been as high or something like that. And so for me, I was like, okay, I know that 10% of the shorts I put out may not be the most ideal. They might cut off a couple seconds too early, or maybe there's a typo in one every 50 shorts that I post because I just didn't catch it or something like that. But overall, the quality's still high because it's coming from a high quality video. And I posted so many for so long that, as you've seen before on this show, 90% of my views have been coming out from shorts. And so I'm trying to kind of balance that out by posting a crap ton more videos now too. But you were kind of the opposite, where you're posting a ton of videos but no shorts. And so I was hoping to kind of help you balance back out too and see how that would go.
Yeah. I mean, do you want me to share my screen and talk about it or no?
You could just tell us too. I don't think we
Yeah.
necessarily need to see the data because it's more discussion at this
Yeah.
point.
So I mean, let's look at this. So 90-day breakdown. Let's see about this. Um, so basically I'm doing about 26 pieces of content a month versus what I was doing before, which was around, I was doing 7 to 9 pieces of content. I'm above 26 now. If we look at 90-day projection, now, of course, we always say the bump at the end of the year. So November, December, we're at a 46% increase for views, 47% increase for watch time. Now, the watch time really has increased because of the live streams and the longer videos. That's what it is. The views have increased because some of the shorts, right now, my shorts are popping to about 400 or 500 views, and then they're dead on arrival every single time. I've been seeing the range is about, my best ones are around 34 to 45 seconds, and posting around either noon or randomly on the weekends seem to be the best time.
One per day?
One per day. One per day. I tried a couple times, twice. Kind
I don't think 2 or 3 make that much of difference, but when you jump from 1 to 5 to 8 to 10, that's where the differences happen. Over the last 90 days, I've gotten 23,000 views on my channel. Mind you, this is the channel with 114 subscribers, this PolyTools channel. And you noticed before, both of my channels had about 91% views across formats for shorts. Mm-hmm. Now it's 83%. And it's decreased from 90 to 83, and so that 7% difference is coming now from my videos. And so I'm working on that balance coming back out. And I think I texted you this, but over the last month and a half across the 3 channels, I've posted 47 videos, or scheduled out 47 videos.
That's really good.
Yeah,
that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, to your point of how could we make it even more, I'm excited that yes, there's 109% more than the previous 90 days. So it's going in the right direction. We're seeing that there are some kind of, traction here. Is the channel got 3,200 new subscribers since November until now. So that's good. The next jump, I think, there's going to be a couple different ones. Number one, it would have to be, I think, packaging. I showed you how I'm going to test out new thumbnails and things like that. But the other thing is, too, I was looking at a channel that was doing N8N AI agents.
Yeah, that's really exciting. I think that tool is one of the few tools I need to mess with, too.
Yeah, and they're going pretty crazy. Let's just be honest with it. Going pretty crazy, and there is a person that is crushing it with it. And they're, not only that, they're saying they're N8N for small businesses, and I looked at their school, so their community on school. I mean, they're hitting like 1,700 members. They're charging like $27 a month now. All right, so really good sustainable income right there. But again, very focused, all talking about NAN, all of those things. So again, I'm still looking at, he's at 56,000. Probably I could look at what's going on Social Blade. He's probably popped off because of it in the last 2 months. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at. It is what it is. Like, if you want to go hard on a very specific tool, that's the way to go about it. Yeah, he's averaging 2,000 subscribers a day. He's gone up in 30 days, he's gone up 35K.
It also comes down to meta strategies, Doc. For example, I'm toying with this idea of doing something what Dan Coe did, where he was doing like 90 to 120 minute videos that were essentially like our normal videos that you and I do, but doing it for 2 hours long. And so they're edited for the most part, at least to some degree, and they're just solo talking head. They're not interviews, they're not live streams, they're just solo edited talking head videos. And while that doesn't need to be super edited, you could add B-roll using stuff like Opus or Riverside. Riverside has B-roll now, which is interesting. And actually this morning I just added the PolyTools channel to Riverside in case we want to try live streaming next week or something like that. Although I'm kind of disappointed in their stream settings. It's limited to 720p on the plan that I'm on, and I can't get rid of the watermark. And there's also, I don't know, I feel like limited multi-streaming capability, but I need to get used to live streaming anyways. And I always tell you to do more shorts. You always tell me to do more live streaming. So
do more live streaming.
Do more shorts.
I can't do anymore. My physical body will shut down if I do.
Just gotta repurpose. You just gotta let go a little bit.
No, I've already done it. I've let go as much as I can. I might die.
So, but
Oh
that's
my
also an
God.
interesting topic too when it comes to, I used to say back in like 2022, hell, even back in 2024, 2023, that it didn't matter if you posted the same clip to TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, Pinterest, LinkedIn, Blue Sky now at this point, and Twitter. However, I'm starting to see the branches a little bit. I've
Tell me
always
more.
said, yeah, I've always said that the Instagram Reels and Facebook Reels were not as good as TikTok, and that still is the case, especially since Instagram Reels is usually about a quarter behind on the timeline. So if you see something on TikTok, you'll see it 3 months later on Instagram. Now, there's people like myself who would post across all of them, so you would generally, if those kind of people, you would see across at the same time. But for the most part, if there was a trend happening, some kind of meme or some kind of joke, that would take a few months to disseminate towards the other platforms. And YouTube Shorts was even later than that, ironically. But again, that was one of those things where it's more meme related, more joke, and more comedy, and just like overall trends. However, more YouTube creators are focusing on clips for their stuff, for like podcasts and stuff like that, and they don't all go on TikTok, even though that most people do say you should syndicate and cross post. And I would definitely still say that you should, but it is interesting to think about how the changes are happening. The TikTok algorithm after the ban is different. Instagram Reels is still the same, but I don't know if that's a good thing or not. They don't like they updated to 3 minutes like YouTube Shorts, but YouTube also added a clipping feature essentially, and they partnered with Repurposed.io recently. Not sure if you heard about that, but
Say this again. What was it?
okay, so YouTube came out with a clipping feature, basically kind of going after Opus's market in a way, although not nearly as good, but the fact that it's built in. And then they also, for the first time, I guess ever, partnered with a third party company, which was Repurpose.io, which you would have thought they would have partnered with Opus at that point, but I digress.
Yeah. Interesting. And we're talking about Handy's Repurposed.io?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I am shocked. Well, that's an awesome thing. That's a
Good
huge
for
thing.
Handy, yeah. And I think basically, if you use the YouTube code, you got like 3 free months of Repurpose and whatnot.
Wow, that's really big for him. That's
Yeah.
huge. Did not know
Like,
that.
and so there was a lot of like things happening right now, and like Blue Sky is coming out with their own Twitter feed, not Twitter feed, TikTok feed, essentially, right? Their own video feed, the format like that. LinkedIn is still pushing video, and I need to get on that sprint
Yeah.
of posting that. I need to get onto that. I actually don't think horizontal is that great on LinkedIn, unless you're doing a long form or live stream. You should be posting the vertical format on LinkedIn.
Interesting. Interesting. I mean, that'd be interesting to see and to test it out. Why
Any
are you
questions?
waiting for LinkedIn? Like, what are you waiting for?
Oh, that's just because it's a big endeavor. I'll have to go through, my thousands of clips and then start posting them. I will also say too, there is a difference between the personal profile and the professional profile. So like on Instagram, I had an issue where I posted to the main feed too much and I lost followers. But as soon as I turned off that feature on pretty much most social media management tools, there's a little checkbox say post to both the reels and main feed, or just the reels feed. And that's what I did, and that switch saw growth. Now I think I got like 23,000 views on my Instagram last month, which is pretty great. I'm starting to grow again on there. But on LinkedIn, I kind of worry, and the same kind of goes for Twitter too, posting too many videos, if you will, on the personal profile versus doing on the professional page as much as you want. And just having like a separate feed. I thought about doing this where I would do the 3 best clips per interview on my personal page as a separate endeavor, and then as many clips as I want on the professional page.
Interesting. Interesting. I like that. Hmm. Hmm. So what's the goal for this week? What are you going to be doing?
Mm. I think really getting some of that PolyTools newsletter back on track and start scheduling those out, because they're simple posts, but they're useful. They're like, here's the top 10, top 3 tools for this category. I think a lot of people would appreciate that. I actually just wrote my tech stack post today, which is a big deal. I'm supposed to write those every quarter, and I've missed the last couple quarters. But essentially, like what's in my tech stack right now, that's what that post is meant for. And then I also want to add my next batch of tools. I've been behind on that. Shouldn't take too long at least, but for the most part, it does take a little bit of like effort because it's all manual. Other than that, I just finished revamping the website, PolyInnovator website, and so hopefully keep writing some more posts on there. What's next for you, Doc?
I don't know. I just reached out to, I have a couple marketplaces that want me to um, review tools, but the sponsorships are way too low. So I'm
Mhm.
reaching out if we can create custom proposals. I'm looking at that right now in my docket. I have about 38 sponsors that I'm trying to reach out to and work on. Basically, there's only a few that I'm reaching out and seeing like, are we going to do something a little bit longer term?
Mhm.
Uscreen I've worked with in the past, so we're going to do that. StreamYard pretty much seems like it's,
Dead in the water.
yeah, like it seems like it's pretty much keeping everything on autopilot. It's making money. I don't
You
think they're
should mess
doing,
with the script.
yeah, maybe I should, or reach out to them, you're saying?
Yeah. I don't think they really do live streaming per se with their tools, but they have the script rooms, which is good for interviews, and they have the regular script, which is good for solo videos. And since it's AI, it's one of the first AI creator tools on the market too, no less. Make it
Yeah.
worthwhile.
Yeah. And I might look at a couple of these AI tools that are for coding the IDs to see if they're looking for it. A lot of times there's just so many out there and people are just lowballing. So it's like,
Mhm.
I wonder if I should do something like deep diving into N8N and just really trying to go hard on that. I don't know
That
yet.
particular, I will just throw my bone out there. I think N8N is a unique tool compared to some of these other ones that have been coming out. That's one of the few ones that's caught my attention multiple times. I
Yeah.
think that even your videos I've seen a number of times come up on my feed.
Yeah.
Automation is also kind of in a stagnancy right now. I would just say, like, this is just me kind of sharing my own opinion or observation. The only two automation tools I can think of right now that are actually interesting is N8N and Nuelink. And Nuelink is because it's the best social automation tool, N8N because it's the most versatile right now. Repurpose obviously had that news with YouTube, but besides that, I don't think it's really changed a whole lot. Zapier still sucks. AutoMensch, I haven't messed with enough. There's active pieces and Make, but those are still kind of like basic.
Yeah. That's exactly right. And I mean, Make is coming out with some basically a competitor in the next couple of months. So I could prep and try to get ready for that. But N8N, it's still very, it's just the intuitive nature of how they're allowing you to use AI
Mm-hmm.
agents. It's just, it reminds me of like Zapier is too big and too bulky to pivot right now. Like Zapier years ago tried to do Zapier tables to like take out
Mm-hmm.
the market of,
Airtable and
yeah,
whatnot.
and it was terrible. It was terrible. And I think the same thing with like them doing agents. It's like, oh, that's a great idea, but it's not working. So, but again, there's options that I might be like part of a creator section for Zapier. I don't know. So it's like I'm debating if I should start creating content around some of these possible bigger brands. To be
What about
continued.
Google Tables?
What are we talking about here?
I just sent it to you. I guess I should put it in the description for people to watch too. Google Tables was a, a Area 120 experiment. I guess that was successful. Supposed to be an alternative to Airtable a while back.
Did they shut it down?
I don't know. It's not shut down. They just
So
didn't do anything
beta.
with it per se.
Yeah. This looks such this. Oh my goodness.
I will say NoCode DB was pretty. It's been pretty cool,
Yeah.
and yeah, I thought you brought a Beyond to them at one
Yeah.
point
This was a long time ago. Yeah. Oh
because I actually had to
yeah.
leave Airtable
Yep.
for NoCo because Airtable has dramatically increased their pricing considering since I joined them. I was also going to mention too something I'm going to work on here soon ASAP is the reviews for these mini PCs. I guess it's my camera's reversed, but this says Pulsar on it. And I got the mini PC and the booster eGPU that I need to review and test. And so I want to do more hardware. In fact, I think I'm kind of, not even purposely, but I'm pivoting pretty hard into hardware. I have a lot of software stuff I still want to make, and I'm kind of trying to catch up on the written content right now. But since I put a hold on the audio content and the gaming content has kind of this treading water right now, I don't need to do anything with it just yet, besides maybe make some videos here and there. That means I could focus on the PolyTools channel and ideally a little bit of the PolyInnovator channel. And I've been reaching out to all the different smart glasses companies. So there's LookTech, there's Lumos, there is what's the other one with the little screen? Crap. Something G1. Even Tech, I think G1.
Really?
And I've been trying to. I mean, I sent you a post about it because I made a list of all the smart glasses that I came across, and so the rise of smart glasses, as I called it. And the funny thing was, I was first off applying to them to be like their content person.
Yeah.
But I also thought like if they're not interested in that, at the very least, I could just make content around them if they wanted to like not necessarily partner with me, but work with me a little bit because I can't afford to buy some of these glasses right now because I'm trying to save up to move. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I like it. I like it. So what's your workflow of doing hardware tech reviews? Do you have a certain script? Do you have it? How do you do that?
that's that's a good question, Doc, because I have a certain way I did software reviews, and I actually didn't like doing them because they were just so much work to do. And ironically, I think hardware reviews are technically more work, but I seem to enjoy them more right now. I'm not
Really?
sure. I kind of went off the cuff with the last couple of videos I made, which were on those dummy smart glasses, the Bluetooth glasses, and the little mini PC. But it was more or less I'm trying to get like used to making them. And I made one for my Retroid Pocket handheld for the gaming channel, and that one was a little bit more intuitive. And I think I told you a couple weeks ago when we had this call, I had a ton of issues that Sunday recording because like my capture card stopped working, then my camera stopped working, then vice versa. And I still managed to finish that video, but I had to switch between OBS and Meld, which is why I'm glad I have multiple recording softwares installed. But yeah,
Hmm.
so I think that I need to maybe find a way to have a top-down shot, right, for
Yeah.
unboxings.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
what I
know
was
if
thinking.
I essentially had this. Let me grab this real quick. I had this little stand that came with my light, right?
Hmm.
And it's loose. I don't have to have it like anything like that. And I just rotated it down and had it facing the table and basically did an unboxing with my regular camera.
Hey,
But
nothing wrong with that.
yeah, after moving things around, though, my regular camera is now stable on a stand. And so that's why I'm also kind of zoomed out a little bit because it's technically farther back. But I want to bring out some of my other cameras too and see how that works. So yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Don't have a
cool.
particular format just yet, but we can talk more about it.
All right. So what's the plan for this week, and then what are we going to talk about next week?
Well, we need to remember what we're going to talk about next week if we say it here.
Write this down. Write it down. What do you want to talk about next week?
I think we should talk maybe more about reviews because I know you've done a lot of reviews with software stuff like that. And I know that you're working with a lot of companies. So maybe you could talk a little bit more on that. Like, how do you reach out to them? How do you collaborate with them? Just for the sake of the audience, if not a little bit for me too. And then for me, I'm wondering what particular aspect would be beneficial to most people. I still don't feel like I've got into that core of that eccentricity I mentioned earlier. Like, how do we accelerate the growth? And because you're very optimized, you're trying to make things better and better and better, which is the normal YouTuber mindset, but it's a matter of doing it better than others. And I think you've been doing that. That's why we're seeing the growth, Doc, right? There's other creators who have that same mindset, but they still fail at iterating, and you've been trying to iterate as fast as possible. And so that's one way of doing it. But I'm kind of curious when it comes to the multi-format, multi-platform aspect of it, not just YouTube.
Mm, this is interesting. Okay. Write this down in our group chat so we remember this for next
Okay.
week.
If
All
you
right.
guys have any ideas, comment down below.